Okay, let's do it then. Welcome everybody. Good morning if you're joining from the Western Hemisphere. Good afternoon if you're joining from the Eastern Hemisphere, or maybe even good evening. Welcome to the RESCO webinar. This webinar is going to talk a lot about RESCO inspections for Microsoft Dynamics 365. It's one of our modules that is fully integrated into the RESCO technology. And the goal of today's webinar is to present the capabilities of inspections, explain what it is, how it works, what are the best use cases, what are the typical scenarios that companies choose in modules such as RESCO inspections. We talk about some advantages and benefits and value that customer get through inspections. And I also prepared a bunch of demos, so hopefully we'll keep it interactive. A little bit of house cleaning before we start. So we're using GoToWebinar, obviously. Thanks for joining. You're all in listen only mode. That means you're muted by default by the system. However, I would love to encourage you to make this interactive. If you have any questions, feedback, maybe some ideas or notes that you would like to share with me or other attendees, please use the questions section in the GoToWebinar application. Post the questions there. I reserved some time towards the end of the webinar, so if you'll have questions, we'll definitely have enough time and space to cover them. If there be questions more of a technical nature or something that I won't be able to answer, I'll give you my word that we'll follow up after the webinar by email and make sure that any questions you have get appropriate answers. If you're wondering who this voice is on the other side of the microphone, my name is Ivan Stano. I'm a general manager and evangelist at RESCO. I've been with the company for a little over 14 years. And in case you want to connect with me, please use the email. It's super simple. It's my first name, Ivan at resco.net, or connect with me on LinkedIn. You can find me there associated with RESCO as well. Good. So if you're ready, I say let's kick it off. And let's start with a little bit of an exercise, right? Why did we actually decided as a company to invest in a technology such as inspections and what it really is, right? It's pretty much a data collection tool on steroids, or that's how we like to think about it. And it came as a natural extension of our technology after hundreds and hundreds of discussions we had with our existing customers, prospects, partners, Microsoft people, really some smart people from the industry, and doing also a lot of research, right? And we were looking a lot at how people actually use the digital tools in the field. How does the use case of a typical RESCO user look like? What do they do, right? The big question was, how do they collect data in the field? Do they use special tools, or are they trying to use the existing RESCO application to kind of wrestle it a little bit, turn it and twist it to turn it into a powerful data collection tool? We also found out quickly that there's a lot of companies who do very rich and extensive data collection, whether those are in form of checks, store checks, for example, audits, inspections. They have to collect vital data of different assets, for example, but a lot of our customers also capture a lot of information based on the conversations they have with their customers, with their partners, with their suppliers, etc. Many of these actually need to generate a report, so give an outcome of all the collected data. And we were surprised to find out that a lot of companies actually prefer to do it right there on the spot. So before they leave the area they operate or the customer they visited, they can send a report with all the collected data to the customer before they actually leave the premises. And probably the most important questions, not to the field people, but their managers, supervisors, leaders, directors, head of departments, etc., that are in charge of the field teams and field operations. How do they make the business decisions and planning, right? Is it a gut feeling? Is it based on the history, or is it based on the data that is coming from the field? So hopefully as precise and as correct as possible. And then if they do it, then the question is, how reliable is the data? Is it well structured? Is everybody providing the data in a cohesive and coherent way? Are they structured in the right way? Is everybody providing the right data, or the data in a form and state that is usable by other people within the company and other departments? So maybe some of these questions you have asked before, maybe some of them you're asking now, and that might be the reason you're joining the webinar today, to maybe learn a little bit more about some of the answers. And spoiler alert, I don't think resco.Inspection is the silver bullet that helps to solve each and every problem associated with data collection, and it doesn't really solve all of the problems. But since we have this functionality for a couple of years now, we recorded a lot of great customer stories that makes us believe that even though it's not a silver bullet, we're helping companies with a lot of problems in a really clever way. So let's talk a little bit more about what that is, how it works, and how it actually connects and integrates with Microsoft Dynamics. So in few words, what resco.Inspections is, it's a module of Resco technology that is primarily designed for powerful and effective data collection, guidance, instruction purposes. And it consists of several components, right? Namely 4. So let's look at those very quickly, and I'll be able to showcase and demo most of these in the second part of the webinar. The first and main point is that resco.Inspections is natively integrated with Resco technology. That means if there are customers of Resco who already use the Resco mobile CRM application, maybe you use Woodford already, you created your own version of the application, and you're thinking, okay, is inspection something that I can use, add to my app, or do I have to build and create and design a brand new application? So the good news is that it's extremely flexible. We have customers who created a very powerful Resco mobile CRM application with a lot of configuration and maybe even customizations. And then they decided, oh, we actually like the idea of having powerful questionnaires in it. So we provide the option to embed it into the existing mobile application. And I'll make an example of how to do it later in the demo as well. But we also have customers who say, we actually have this new team or separate team. They don't need a robust mobile application. They just need a simple digital app, digital tool that allows them to quickly collect the information on the go. So it can be a separate, simple application just for the data collection purposes. So the flexibility is there. And then how it's actually coming together. So we created a specific tool called Questionnaire Designer, which is nicely embedded and integrated with Microsoft Dynamics 365 environment. The Questionnaire Designer allows our customers or partners who work with the tools to design the questionnaires. It's really a drag and drop type of tool. So you're designing the questionnaires by dragging different types of questions and then pretty much just using your keyboard and mouse to populate the content. So type in the different types of questions, answers, etc. Set up different rules, actions. If you want to make something more complex, like build in some logic, dynamic type of questionnaire, etc., we have full support of Resco rules in the designer as well. The second component is the mobile application. I mentioned that it can be the existing application or it can be a spin-off of a very simple app. Really, the flexibility is there. Then we understand that collecting the data, that's really just pretty much half of the story, right? The data needs to be collected, but the magic happens when you actually start to analyze the data. Slice it, dice it, create different types of reports, charts, etc., so that you're getting meaningful results, meaningful ideas for your business, whether it helps with your decision making, whether it helps with your planning, whether it helps with your reporting, whether it helps with getting the data in front of the customer, etc. That really depends on you. So what we did, we provided some simple data tools in the analyst section of the solution that helps you to visualize the data or quickly review the data right in the Microsoft Dynamics environments. From the experience though, we found out that a lot of customers prefer to use more powerful tools. So if you're familiar with Microsoft Power BI or some other BI and reporting tools, I fully encourage you to use those because resco.Inspections is so nicely and tightly integrated with Dynamics. It's just another set of data in Dynamics, and you can do whatever actions, you can use whatever tools you use to actually analyze the data and create your own custom dashboards, custom reports, charts, etc. And the last part, already mentioned a couple times, it's that seamless integration. And that's, I think, is the powerful part of resco.Inspections. We're not storing data outside of your environment and your infrastructure. resco.Inspections is so beautifully integrated with Dynamics that it's all the data is staying within the same silo, same environment. So you're working with one and single source of truth where all the data resides. Also, if you're considering or if you already use Microsoft Dataverse for your custom projects, custom needs, etc., resco.Inspections nicely works with Microsoft Dataverse as well. One more thing about inspections, and that's the supported platforms and devices. I think there's no surprise that when it comes to platforms, resco.Inspections really covers everything that you might be familiar with Resco covering over the years. So it nicely works on iOS, Android, Windows, and also in a web browser. When it comes to devices, we're trying to make it a little bit more interesting. So obviously the mobile devices such as phones and tablets, desktops. But what could be interesting, and I've demoed it before, is the functionality of resco.Inspections on a smartwatch. We believe that's a really nice use case and extension of Resco technology on a wearable device. The idea of fitting the whole Resco application into a small display of a smartwatch is silly, but running a questionnaire with a simple data input makes a lot of sense. The other idea that we went and we partner with a company called RealWear. That's the white hard hat that you can see there. The hard hat is actually not part of the solution, but that little black arch that is extending from the bottom of the hard hat, that's the RealWear device. It's a head-mounted mobile wearable device. It's not an AR VR type of technology. It's really an extension of your vision, where you have a small display that provides you with the vital information related to the work that you're performing out in the field. And what we did, we optimized Resco technology to fit into that small screen, support for the different gestures and navigation within the RealWear device, and inspections is fully supported on the RealWear as well, so that you can operate it with your voice or quick gestures with your fingers or hands. If you've heard of resco.Inspections before, and you might have seen it if you joined us in Lisbon at the Resco Next conference in October this year, you might have heard a lot of stories from our customers and partners who are already working with inspections or implementing inspections and making a lot of improvements by incorporating the newest additions from the resco development team into this technology, you might say, okay, so what were you doing, resco, right, over the last year, 2 years with inspections? And I can tell you that we dramatically redesigned the whole solution. The biggest and most impressive change is the support of JSON format. So we had a lot of customers who started using inspections, and as you can imagine, it resulted in huge amount of data collected over time. If you think about it, imagine you have 100 people out in the field every day collecting maybe hundreds of different answers. And over a period of time, let's say 6 to 12 months, if they add a lot of pictures, for example, or some other multimedia type of files, it was creating a lot of pressure on their databases, performance, etc. So that was a big push that we made. We redesigned the engine, and we now support JSON format that is able to save a ton of space for our customers and also dramatically improve the synchronization time. One of our partners, a company called Age1 from the United States of America, actually had a brilliant case study how they work with one of our customers implementing resco inspections. And after they switched the inspections to the JSON format, the synchronization time has improved by 94%, which is a tremendous improvement for the customer. And as you can see, we're adding some additional features and functionality, support for reusable answers, scan and extract. So a lot of customers, we understand, already have some type of questionnaires, maybe in a form of Excel spreadsheets, paper, so they're usually in a PDF form or some other files. We now have support for bringing those and digitalizing them for the purposes of resco inspections, tagged images, grid layout editor, document round trip, buttons, custom commands, and display images of multi-image questions. Lots of improvements, and I'm happy to report that by the end of the year, you should be able to see our complete roadmap for 2023 with highlights of the direction for the entire resco technology, including inspections, as that's the cornerstone of resco. Good. So hopefully that gave you some idea what inspections is, what are the different components and how they work together. And now let's talk about the scenarios, right? Inspections, a lot of people told me before that, oh, is it just like a very small, narrow part of the field service use case, the actual field service inspections, or is it something more, right? And maybe here's an ask for you from my side. What do you think the correct name should be? Because we played with the idea of renaming resco inspections, as we believe it's not just a simple, narrow part of field service use case. It's much stronger, it's much more powerful, it's much more horizontal. And it's not just we're thinking about it that way, it's about the customers and partners telling us. We have customers who use it in pure sales scenario. They have sales reps who go and visit different stores and shops, and as part of their visit, they do a lot of store checks. So they use resco inspections for those purposes. We have a customer here in the United States from the fast food market, and they send their sales agents out into different regions. They operate there for a week. They visit all the different fast food shops or locations, and as part of their sales agenda, they run a number of different questionnaires where they evaluate how well the French fries is running. So if it's clean, if they have everything in order, if if the staff is obeying to all the rules and regulations, hygiene, etc. So they're doing like a complete inspection of that particular location. But we also see a lot of utilization outside of sales, right? So the field service use cases, preventive maintenance guidance, work execution guides, revisions, inspections of assets, some machinery, etc. But even some customer satisfaction surveys after the work was done. So possibilities really are endless and limitless. Because resco.Inspections is designed in a very horizontal way, it allows you to create any type of questionnaire for any purpose. And because it's nicely integrated and fits into the resco application, you can just embed it to your app based on how you use it. So some more examples of customers who use inspections and what they saw as a result. One particular one that I love, Southern States Toyota Lyft, also from the United States. They decided to implement Microsoft Dynamics 365 CE with resco.Inspections. What they do, you might ask. So they're in business of renting the Toyota machinery. It's not the cars that you might be familiar with. It's more of the forklifts and different machines used in industrial industrial environments. So before they implemented Dynamics and Resco, they were heavily paper-based. Every time they were renting their machines out, they had to do a complete walk-around inspection of the vehicle or the machinery, collect all the data, document all the data. Then it was used by the company who rented that machine, and it was returned, and they had to do the same thing again. Tremendous amount of paperwork, tremendously slow and unsustainable. So after they implemented both Microsoft Dynamics and Resco, suddenly they saw a fantastic improvements. Their process efficiency went up by 45%. And because the whole process sped up compared to the paper one, they started to see increased revenue. And it was a great hit, great success. We're now working with more Toyota material handling dealerships on implementing resco.Inspections with their Dynamics backends to help them bring them to the digital era and improve their overall efficiency and operations. If you'd like to learn more about this particular one, let me know. We actually have a short video. It's a 5-6 minute video of a manager from Southern States Toyota Lyft who came to one of our events and talked about their story, why they chose Resco, what are the key criteria, and more details about the project as well. Highly recommended. Another example here, we have Key2Act, one of Resco's strategic partner at great company who builds their own field service software on top of Microsoft Dynamics Great Plains. They use Resco technology for their mobility purposes, so they build their own version of the mobile application integrated with their field service management system, fully on top of Resco. And just about a year and a half, 2 years ago, we decided that it's time for them to implement resco.Inspections because it makes so much sense for a lot of their customers. And they found out the implementation was really fast and easy. It's all one system, it's all one technology that they've already been quite familiar with. And they saw a great efficiency increase for their customers. They reported up to 68% improvements. And the last one, Enterprise Ins, a company from the United Kingdom. They use this solution in a different way. It's more used for capturing the dialogues, conversations, and meetings that they have with the customers. And as part of it, they collect the data in a much faster and more efficient way. It resulted in a higher customer satisfaction that went up by about 25%, and now they're able to do it all from just one mobile app, one mobile device. They don't need any other devices to do their job. So hopefully that gave you some ideas, concrete ideas of companies who do it with resco.Inspections and what they've seen as improvements. Whew, I know I was talking quite a lot, so apologies for the cadence. Let me have a sip of water and then we'll shift the gears and move to the more interactive part, which will show you the Microsoft Dynamics environment, how inspections is embedded there, the inspections or questionnaire designer, I should say, what are the possibilities there, and then the experience in the mobile application. Okay, so let's do it. Let's start in Dynamics, and I hope you can see my browser right now. I'm logged into a Microsoft Dynamics 365 sales application. If you're wondering, well, sales, I demo the inspections a lot in the field service context. So I thought, let's change it a little bit and show the capabilities of inspections when associated with Dynamics 365 sales as well. So if you use Dynamics 365, this view, this screen should be pretty familiar with. You should be pretty familiar with it. So I have all the sales functionality, my entities such as accounts, contacts, leads, etc., all available here. And I promise that resco.Inspections is smoothly embedded and integrated with Dynamics, right? So let me show you the proof. When I click on the applications, after installing the Resco Woodford solution file, I have now a couple of Resco-related apps right here. One of them is called Resco Suite, right here in the center of the screen. So when I click on that, it brings me to the Resco Suite app. And on the left-hand side, you'll see all the insights, all the contents of the Resco Suite, right? So at the very top, we have the Woodford. Woodford is the name of our customization and configuration tool. We'll get there in a second, so I'll open it up already. But underneath, you can see there's inspections. So if you already use Resco, chances are, not chances are, but it's actually given that inspections is already part of your Resco Suite package. The inspections includes number of different components here. Couple of them I was mentioning in the presentation just a moment ago. It's the questionnaire designer, but we also have the dashboard to visualize the data and results viewer that allows you to review all the completed questionnaires and see all the details, right? So as you can see, nicely embedded in the Dynamics. I'll open the questionnaire, but just for now, I'll go back to Dynamics. And I'll now show you a couple things. But first of all, I hope that it's perfectly clear that resco.Inspections is part of your Dynamics. You don't have to work in a separate environment, all under one hood of Dynamics. So if I decide to add inspections into my Resco mobile app, what do I actually have to do, right? That's probably the question. So there needs to be a few things done. The first one is I have to go to the Woodford tool and add or enable inspections for my mobile project. So let's do that. I switch to the Woodford tool that in the meantime has loaded. Perfect. If you've used Woodford, you'll probably know where I am. If you've never seen this before, what you see is the Woodford tool. I'm actually on the left-hand side, you can see I have highlighted the application projects, and that's what I see in the center of the screen. The application project, think of it as a definition of all the configurations, customizations of the mobile application, right? And there's few of them here because this is our Resco demo environment, so it's used by some of my colleagues as well. The one app or the one application project that I'm working with is right here, named after me, Ivan Demo. and I click on the edit to open it up, and that allows me to see all the insights of the app project. So hopefully this will load quickly. There we go. And the power of Woodford tool is that it really gives you access to all the details in the app. From designing the home screen, as you can see here, through designing dashboards, trees, lots of functionality on the side of design, themes, branding, etc., mapping functionality, calendaring, scheduling boards, integration in Microsoft Exchange or Google for contacts, emails, calendars, etc. And as I'm scrolling down within the settings section, you'll see there's a little green icon with a check mark named Inspections. So I'll click on that. And as you can see here, the inspection is not enabled for this mobile project. So I can't make it part of the app yet. But adding it is very simple. I'll just put a check mark here. I get this little warning, and some of you might have that question about how it's licensed, how it's priced. So I'm not going to touch it right now. Maybe we'll take it towards the end of the webinar. But here, for the purposes of the demo, I'll just confirm that I'm fully licensed to use resco.Inspections as a module. And that explains me a few things. resco.Inspections is backed by a few entities, custom resco entities that after you enable inspections are created and added to your Dynamics environment. And those entities are questionnaire, question group, and question. And then we also add a couple of views and styles and images, etc., to provide that functionality. What I have to do is now hit the save button to save this change. And that means the inspections as a module is now part of my mobile project. What I really want to make sure of, though, is that I can see this functionality in the app. So I scroll down. I'll actually click on this little button here that only shows me the entities that are already part of the resco mobile app. And I think what I'll do, I'll click on the appointment and hit the show UI. Open up a form because I want to add the inspections functionality on the appointment. So I open up the form designer. This is actually the mobile form of the appointment. And on the left-hand side, you can see that I have inspections here. Suddenly, it magically showed up here. And what I'll do, I drag and drop the inspections right here. So I'll have the general tab, details, inspections, and notes when I access the appointment. When I'm done, I hit save and close. And I think that I would also like to add inspections functionality on an account. So let's say when I interact with my customers, I want to have access to all the questionnaires. So similarly, I click on the accounts, I open up the mobile form, and also here I have inspections. So actually it's already here. Apologies for that. I was playing with the demo last night to make sure everything works. So it's already here. Awesome. So I hit save and close. Now what I need to do is click on the publish button, right? To make these changes that we created available for the mobile app. And while this is running, we're not gonna go to the mobile application just yet, because this needs to finish, but also I'll prepare my questionnaire designer and make sure that it's running. Perfect. So let's just let this finish. Perfect. Okay. What I'll do on the mobile application side is I'll bring it to the center of the attention, of course. And what I'm doing, I'm synchronizing the application. So if you're familiar with the resco technology, you probably know that all the changes done in the Woodford tool or anywhere else in the resco toolkit are applied for the application right after the synchronization. So the sync just finished successfully. And let me first go to the calendar. As you can see, I have 2 appointments scheduled for today, a customer meeting and then an in-person presentation. So let me open the first one, the customer meeting. And as you'll see here, suddenly I have I have these tabs, the info tab or general with all the details about the appointment, the regarding field, subject, some information about start and end time. As I scroll down, I have the details, so who the organizer is and if there are any people required to join the appointment. And now suddenly I have this new section here called inspections, right? It's blank because it's brand new for the app. I haven't done any inspections, any questionnaires, or anything like that yet. But if I want to do so, I can click on the little plus button here. So if I click on the plus button, and I'll change the view at the top to the templates, I can see some predefined, pre-configured questionnaire templates. Let me show you one of these so you get the idea how it looks. So I open a store check. This is a relatively new, simple design that we put together. We got inspired by one of our customers who actually performs the store checks. And you can see at the very top, I have some linking, deep linking to the dynamics, functionality, and entities. So where we can bring the accounts here, and I'll choose the account tower, let's say. Appointment, so it's already associated with the customer meeting appointment because that's where I'm opening up, starting the questionnaire from. I have some questions here and different types of questions as well. As you can see, it can be visual, it can be colorful, the buttons can be big or small, multiple answer, single answer, simple toggle, etc. If I answer the question about problems, yes, you can see some simple logic and dynamic there. The new field shows up that says problem description. If I answer no, I don't bother the user with this supportive information, but I can easily dictate it as well. Perfect. We can link it to different products, etc. Define the satisfaction. Very good. We have support for different types of or means of input. It can be barcode scanning, QR code scanning, etc. We have support for taking pictures. As I'm scrolling down, you can see a little black camera there as well. So if I tap on it, it gives me the option to capture picture, record audio files, or maybe even video files if I choose so. But I choose the option to capture picture, and I'll take a picture of my notebook right here, hit the use photo, and that picture will be stored as well. If you need to take multiple pictures, we now have support for that as well. Some multiple answer type of question as well. And towards the very bottom, I have the option to take a signature. So I tap on that, scribble my signature here, and hit save. And that signature is stored as part of it. And as you can see, I now have some action buttons at the very bottom of the questionnaire. The first one is report, if I want to build a mobile report based on all of these answers. The second one is save. So I would just save it without completing the questionnaire. Maybe I want to get back to it later on, or I need some more information from somebody else to finalize the questionnaire. So I can just simply save it and work with other parts of the mobile application and then come back, reopen it and continue with the work. Or if I'm finished, I can complete it with a report, right? So let me show you that option, complete with the report. I get a message that after it's set as complete, I won't be able to do any additional changes. And in a fraction of a few seconds, you can see that we built a mobile report. That report includes the pictures, all the answers as filled in on the mobile phone, We actually can also capture the duration time, so how long it took me to open the questionnaire from opening the questionnaire until completing it, and of course the signature as well. And this is a PDF that you see here, but I can switch to the info tab at the very bottom of the screen. If I do that, you can see that I have the field format that is right now PDF, but for your information, we also support Word, Excel, and HTML files. And because this is a PDF document, I can tap on the 3 little dots in the right upper corner, and that provides me with a bunch of different actions I can take. I can copy this PDF, I can print it if I have access to a mobile printer, for example, or I can email it. So it will become an attachment of an email, and I can send it to the customer before I actually leave their office or their building, or I can just simply save it, which I'll do in my case, and I hit the back button. When I get out of it, now you can see that the screen is refreshed. I can see the store check inspection here with the green color completed. That means I'm all done there. The current dates, and what I'll probably would do would move on to the next appointment where I could run some more inspections and do some more work, right? And that's an example of inspections functionality embedded into the appointment. But if you remember, when we were playing with it in the Woodford tool, I actually also made it part of the accounts. So let me show you that quickly. I'll go to the accounts. I open, let's say, the very first one, the account tower. And again, this form includes all the information here. And as part of it, again, I have this inspections section here. So exactly as I designed it in the Woodford tool, inspections shows up here. I can tap the plus button here and maybe just very quickly show you a generic questionnaire. So a different type of questionnaire that just lists all the potential components and questions that we support, and I'll show you in a moment. So differently looking one, and maybe I'll show you one more while we're here, so you really see the options. A wind turbine here, if we're inspecting a wind turbine, it can even include some supportive text explaining to the field personnel, to the technician in this case, what to do, how to do it effectively, and it can be very visual as well. So if I show you the last one, a different type here where we're inspecting an elevator cabin, and the whole inspection questionnaire is defined or designed in several steps based on the areas that the technician needs to inspect, such as the cabin interior, exterior, engine room, all the floors, etc. So same functionality, but now part of the accounts. And this way it works with any other entities, system entities, or custom entities that you use. You can embed inspections anywhere in the application. If you want to make it very simple, very light, you can just put the questionnaires in the application in the mobile project and keep it very, very simple. Okay, one more thing, as I see that we're slightly running out of time. Let me show you the last part of the demo, and that's the questionnaire designer. So what you've seen so far was we explained how inspections is embedded into Microsoft Dynamics. It's part of the Resco suite. If you want to enable it for your existing application, it's done in the Woodford tool. It's a pretty simple process. You just have to enable inspections module in the Woodford and then map it out for the mobile app. So where exactly you want to have the inspections functionality available. In the application, it's a nice, smooth experience. Everything is nicely embedded into the Resco app. And the last part that I'm going to show you fairly quickly is the questionnaire designer, right? So in the app, I showed you a couple of examples of different questionnaire templates. And you might ask, okay, cool, how did these come together, where they appeared from? So all these questionnaires are actually designed in the questionnaire designer. And that's the tool that I open from Dynamics. It's opening up in a separate window for the convenience, but it's still nicely embedded into the Dynamics. So it's the same URL as you can see at the top of the screen. And here in the center of the screen, you can see different types of questionnaire templates, right? Almost all of these are active. That means they're available for the mobile app. And the one that I was showing you was the store check. That's a version, that's a type of questionnaire that is versioned. We now have support for versioning. And the other ones I showed you are here as well. So for example, the regular inspection questionnaire, I can open it up. That's the one for the elevators, where I kind of go over all the areas of an elevator and I need to inspect it. This is how it looks like, right? So on the left-hand side, we have the navigation. So all the existing questions that I can quickly scroll through or click through. You can see the section cabin interior, cabin exterior right here, all the way towards the end with some final notes, comments, next inspection day, customer signature. And then this is really my canvas in the center of the screen. So as an example, if I want to change something, maybe as I'm evaluating or inspecting the lights and bulbs, you can see that this is a question that I can edit, and all of them I can edit by simply clicking in there, and using my keyboard I can add additional text. That would be the section and question, and then the answers I have underneath, right? Cover is damaged, blinking, not working, bulb is missing, okay, or I can just put not applicable as a new answer and click the plus button, and now I'll have 5 different answers to choose from. If I want to delete it, I just simply click on the trash bin, dustbin button. If I want to add a new type of question, I have this new tab here called components, and these are all the pre-configured components, question types that we put together and periodically expand. So I have some static components here, for example, the link, entity link, etc. And then I have the different types of questions, right? So text, single choice, multiple choice, yes and no, dates, lookups, images, text tagged images, signatures, emails, barcodes, even a regarding loop, which is a special type of component, very handy for the deblinking with other functionality from Microsoft Dynamics. So these are all available to be added on the questionnaire. How to do it? Let's say I'll click here and say, give me a new one, yes and no. I clicked on the yes, on the plus, you can see the new question shows up here. Yes or no. I can make it mandatory by clicking on this little button here. Required, not required, smart rule, etc. So it gives you a lot of options. If some of the questions must be answered by the person in the field, and when I'm done, I just hit the save button, right? I quickly synchronize the mobile application because I want to show you that that simple change will be visible in the app right away. So right after I synchronize the application, and let's say go into the accounts, account tower, I create a new questionnaire. Here's my regular inspection. And yeah, here we are. It's kind of right in the center of the screen now is the yes or no. In default, no, but I can change it to yes. So this simple question was there. It took us maybe less than a minute, and if I were not talking that much, it probably would take maybe around 30 seconds to make this change. This way you can add new questions, change them. This is something that we're getting lots of feedback about, that processes change, regulations change, things that companies require to collect in terms of data or report change on a regular basis. So having a powerful questionnaire designer where it's all done is really handy and speeds a lot of time. Also, one more important information, the questionnaire designer, because it's outside of the Resco Woodford tool, which needs to be used by a system administrator security role, the questionnaire designer is outside of it, so it can be accessed by anybody appointed within organization. So you don't have to have a system admin using the questionnaire designer. So it can be somebody from on the business side, it can be a supervisor, etc., who's more familiar, more skilled, more experienced with the overall business business side of things, processes, use cases, etc., and is able to use this tool because it really doesn't require any coding. I'll just discard the changes. If you want to, however, create your own questionnaire, chances are you already have some. It's very easy. You can click on the new button in the left upper corner. I mentioned that we support import. So if you have an existing Excel file with all the questions, you can do that. If you have a PDF, you can scan and extract it, or you can start from scratch with a blank template, right? You can see the answer storage in default is set to JSON. That's what I was describing in the first part of the webinar. This is the tremendous improvement of storage and synchronization time. And then you can click on the create, and here we are. We can start designing our new questionnaire from scratch. If you'd like to get some inspiration, we have a library of around 100 different questionnaires that we put together. They really serve different use cases, different purposes. You can easily import them into the questionnaire designer. So we have the import functionality right here, where you add them into the questionnaire designer and you can use them, makes further changes, etc. Good. With 5 minutes left, let me go back to my slides and do the final wrap up. So I know it might have been a lot of information, but quick summary, and hint, this is your option to start typing your questions or anything that you would like to share with me, preferably related to Resco inspections. So what we did, we explained what Resco Inspections is, how it all works with Microsoft Dynamics, what are the different components and tools that are part of Resco Inspections, and how nicely it's embedded into the Resco application. We try to explain what are the different use cases, how it's helping companies get better results and become a more efficient and leaner operation. We also explained in a demo how all these components work together and how the questionnaires actually look like on a mobile device. There's a ton more. As you can probably tell, we're really just scratching the surface. So we put together these links about different resources, and there's a ton of information on Resco Wikipedia site. We actually have separate courses, online courses in Resco Academy, which is your on-demand resource of interactive resource of all things Resco related. We have that questionnaire templates library that I just mentioned, some more information on the website, and some pre-recorded demos on YouTube and additional information there as well. Of course, if you have questions later on, maybe you'll think about it for a couple days and then you'll have more questions, feel free to reach out to us, either to my email address, which is ivan@resco.net, or one of our general emails, sales@resco.net. Or if you're already working with somebody at Resco, some of my counterparts and colleagues in Europe, feel free to reach out to them. everybody at Resco that is in an account management and sales position has been trained in Resco technology and topics, so they should be able to give you some good answers. And let me now have a quick look if we have any questions. Okay, as expected, there's one question related to the licensing and pricing of resco inspections. I think I mentioned it as part of the demo when we were enabling it. So yes, as you probably got the idea from the demo, resco inspections is backed by a separate license. It's a module, separate module that you can license separately. We encourage you to reach out to us so that we can learn more about your use case, your scenario, whether you expect to use inspections by your entire field work pool, workers pool, or just a subset, or if there's maybe a new division that's going to use a very inspections in a very simple way. And you have my word that we'll find the best ways how we can support you and make sure that Resco inspections is doable for you in terms of pricing and licensing. So it's a separate module. It requires a separate license, and please reach out to us. We'll work together with you to understand your use case and what would be the best way forward regarding the licensing. Great. I don't see any more questions, and we have just 1 minute left, so I'll give that one back to you. Thank you so much for attending the webinar today. Hope it was beneficial. If you'll have questions, feel free to reach out to us, and I'll wish you a great rest of the day.